Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. I've got a special message for you today, and I'm very excited to share with you because I think it's going to propel a lot of you forward on your path with a lot more confidence and security in what it is you're looking to accomplish. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has helped me along the way in getting my business reestablished. After what happened in March and April, there was a lot of uncertainty, and the I wasn't really sure if I would physically be able to produce at the level that would be sufficient enough to support the family. Because obviously, right now, I can't work a day job with the things that I'm experiencing physically. So, what has made the biggest difference is people referring me to family and friends. And there's been so much of that that I would have been in big trouble without that, honestly. The difference now than before, I was starting that business, but I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out and how I was going to be able to produce at a level that would see me be abundant in the way that I wanted to be, in the way that I expected to be. So the difference is right now that some time has passed, is that I'm much more clear about the way forward, and I'm much more able to stay in the now moment, free of any anxiety about what to expect and what's to come. Um, you know, um, when you work with the Akashic records like I do every day, you begin the process of melding with the records. So you're able to get a lot of ideas and a lot of creative inspiration, and not just ideas on something you can do, but it's more of a detailed process of how to bring things into manifestation phase. So that's been great, and you've noticed a lot of changes on my website, and a lot of projects that I'm working on are going to be released in the next month or two, and they're really huge. And never really thought I would be doing that kind of thing, but here we are. And when we go into the records, I never show up with a predetermined idea of who is going to greet me in that space. Like I said last video, a lot of the times it was my Pleiadian aspect who would come forward, just because that is the most comfortable transition into the multidimensional state. Because energetically they're the closest match to us, and that allows for a certain comfort level between the two that allows the timeline to be accelerated and to keep us engaged so that we develop ourselves and our senses in that space. So I go into the records. I never specifically request who comes forward, so it's always a surprise and a special treat when some energy like Kryon comes forward, because I am very comfortable in that space and can ask questions that I think will translate into something that's relevant for all of you guys to hear, because we're all kind of going through common circumstances, and there's a lot of things that we can very easily personally adjust that are going to create profound ripples of change through our experience. So I go into the records this time and am greeted by Kryon, and whenever that happens, my heart just bubbles to the surface with love, and it chokes me up in my throat, and the entire time in that experience I'm just kind of awestruck and having such profound emotions of love bubbling to the surface that it's one of my favorite experiences to have, and something I had been waiting for a very long time. But I asked Kryon, what can old souls do at this time to attach themselves to the highest timeline? Meaning the timeline where we're most fulfilled and most abundant in whatever it is we're looking to experience and pursue. And Kryon's answer was, you guys, all of you are already attached to the highest timeline. Every single one of you is attached to a timeline that sees you awaken and recall these missing pieces of yourself, creating a life that is full of clarity and love, because we've rediscovered the spark that was missing through this separation process. And Kryon then says, old souls are in charge of accelerating or extending that timeline. And that is all based on personal development and what we're looking to conjure up with our free will. So I rephrase the question, what is the one thing that old souls can do to accelerate their experience on that timeline? And the answer was, they can eliminate the list. And so, Kryon being a little lovingly cryptic, I ask, what is the list? Can you describe that and define what that is for me so that we know what to look for? And the answer, is of course, the list is the things that you think you have to eliminate before you can feel happiness and peace and fulfillment in your incarnation here. So a lot of us examine our lives and we come back with things that aren't in alignment and don't add up with what we want to experience or what we're going to experience. So we have a list, and we tell Spirit that list all the time. I've got this wrong, this is bugging me, this is stopping me, this is blocking me and preventing me from pursuing the spiritual path with the tenacity that maybe I would otherwise. And so of course I ask, how can we eliminate that list? It seems like such a daunting challenge and something that is one of the hardest things to do in life, is to just put everything aside circumstantially and bring everything together in this nice, happy, little blissful now moment. The answer is to focus on presence, maintain your awareness in the now moment, and vibrationally you therefore eliminate everything on that list and everything associated with that list. Now that does not necessarily mean that the circumstances change themselves instantly, but vibrationally, if we are in a place where the universe can then magnetize to us what is more appropriate, then by design, with its natural function, the universe is going to check and remove everything from that list one by one over a specific period of time. On our end, though, we've already made peace with where we are, and we've taken responsibility for what we've created, and that's really all that's necessary on our end of things. And we've got to understand that there is a system involved that is automatically going to bring to you by default whatever your level of vibration is. Now keep in mind that a lot of old souls have been eliminating and detaching themselves from their karma for a very long time. Even lifetimes before this, you were setting yourself up for the most success possible during this shift. So where you are right now at this time and place, it's no accident. This is a long-term game. This is a long-term plan, and this is the highest level of investment that your soul can make, is to just endure this experience for the opportunity that the timeline will come around where things can explode in abundance. And forgetting the piece of creator that we are and rediscovering that is kind of a mission that your soul is on. And the soul gets tired in this vessel. The soul feels like it is always traveling, always evolving, always experiencing something new, but it's very hard for the soul to feel like it's home when it is encased in one of these suits that has all of these attachments and ties that are preventing it from experiencing home. So as hard as it is to vibrationally remove some of these factors from the equation, that's exactly what we've been tasked to do. And you have to understand that, we make this process sound so easy, but it's not. honestly, it's one of the hardest things that you can ask a human to do, is put them in an environment that is designed to suppress the truth about who they are, and see them expand and rise up into embodying their true self anyway. That's one of the hardest things that you can do in the universe, let alone in a place that has been washed out like this one has. So, if we are trying to change our circumstances with anxiety and frustration and depression, we're not going to have any success in trying to do that. Our tool is vibration. Our tool is to rise above the density and to see in from a higher perspective. It takes a fifth dimensional vibration to change the third density. Third density can rarely examine and change itself without the 5D perspective. And you can, in any given now moment, experience this 5D vibration. Just for that moment, you have put aside anything survival and separation generated, and slowly, bit by bit, moving yourself into a scenario that sees you closer and more in contact with your soul. So, easier said than done, yes, but worth the challenge, absolutely. And remember, at a soul level, you specialize in creating these opportunities to shift beyond the limitations of the vessel that you are in. So then in my session, I ask, what does that look like? What are the details of experience that would see us vibrationally coming into our own and attaching ourselves to that shorter timeline of being spiritually fulfilled, in our pursuit of knowledge of self. And the difference is that a lot of old souls, just as a base function, feel unworthy and are approaching the spiritual work from a place of separation. It is very important for us going forward that we are not becoming masters. We already are masters. We're just remembering that. And it is showing up and doing this spiritual work from the perspective of a master that makes all of the difference. So how are you showing up when you are doing your meditations, when you're doing your affirmations, when you are seeking to acquire knowledge and truth from the Akashic records? Do you show up in that space as just an observer that is there to look around, or are you a master that knows exactly what to do and knows exactly what to say to get the information and the result that you're anticipating? So anyway, very excited to bring that to the table, and I think it's a unique perspective through the Akashic records, and I know that the message of Kryon is one that we can all relate to on a personal level. So yeah, like I said, I've got a lot of things in the works. I've got a lot of things I'm excited to release, and having a lot of patience in seeing them unfold, but the process of manifesting is speeding up significantly, since I felt like I have melded with the records and they are open and free to elaborate and to present me with ideas when the time is right. And that's exactly what I'm experiencing, and I'm really excited about it. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best going forward.